It's July 4th in the United States of America. Aren't you going to help me make this little video, buddy? And that means it's Independence Day. On Independence Day, we celebrate our independence from Great Britain when the 13 colonies came together and signed the Declaration of Independence. And from then on, we were in a struggle for several years to eventually gain our independence from that big, bad Great Britain. Although, I think we're allied on every major conflict since. But anyway, we're independent now. And that means we roll out America's finest gourmet food. Hot dogs, hamburgers, French fries? So Shadow and I, when we want to celebrate something, we do what we love to do best, astrophotography. So last night, after midnight, once the clock rolled over to July 4th, we set up and did some deep space imaging of a target that we think would be most appropriate for the celebration of July 4th. The target we went after last night is known as the North American Nebula. And that is called the North America Nebula because it looks like North America. But right next to it is the Pelican Nebula. And I think the Pelican Nebula looks a lot like Europe. So independence, there you go, because North America, the United States of America, isn't the only country on North America. We share it with two others. We share it with Canada to the north, Mexico to the south, and they too have their days of independence. Independence Day for the Canadians is July 1st, because on July 1st, 1867, the British Parliament passed the Constitution Act, which paved the way for eventual independence for our friends in Canada. September 16th is the day our friends in Mexico celebrate their independence because it was September 16th, 1810 that the events occurred that led to their eventual independence from Spain. Now, I have a number of reasons why I have a particular fondness for Britain, one of which is Shadow here, is part Jack Russell Terrier, that's a British breed, and a rat terrier. That's another British breed. And that was a great big British yawn. The other reason I'll show you in my study. I love history. And you cannot separate the history of the United States of America from Great Britain. And I have up here on my bookshelf a little plate celebrating Queen Elizabeth's Golden Jubilee in 2002. I really admire Queen Elizabeth. I've always been a big fan of hers. I think she is a fine example of a woman of great character and dignity, and we were very fortunate as a world to have her for as many years as we did. These three countries are neighbors, and we all share the North American continent. So, the North America Nebula, we think that's a great nebula to go after to celebrate Independence Day, and that's what Shadow and I did last night. That's a big nebula, a big, beautiful emissions nebula, too big to actually fit in the field of view of my larger scopes. So we imaged last night with this. This is the Orion quadruplet, the EON quadruplet, 70 millimeter aperture, 350 millimeter focal length, makes it an f/5. Good, fast scope with a wide field of view. And you'll see when I show you the image we captured last night, it pretty much filled up the entire field of view. Some of these deep space objects are that enormous. The seeing conditions were not ideal last night in that it was a full moon, and the image we were going after was almost directly overhead, and the full moon was just about right there. Just when you're looking at the image, you can tell that I had some challenges. But we used a rather restrictive light pollution filter. It helped. It also brought out some different features. I've done the North American Nebula before, and this one looked a little different than the others. Ideal? Probably not exactly, but it somewhat emphasizes the Great Wall, they call it, the North American Wall. In any event, we had fun capturing it, and we're going to celebrate the 4th of July by sharing it with you.